What's going on, guys? It's ETA Prime back here again. Today I'm going to show you how to add box art and images to your games on your Odroid Go Advance without a Wi-Fi dongle. If you followed my previous tutorial on installing the software for your Go Advance and adding games, you might notice when you go into each of these systems, it looks pretty bare. All we have is the name of the game. It's just plain text, but this will get you by. I mean, you can play this without any images whatsoever if you don't want them. That's totally fine. But in this video, I'm going to show you how to add beautiful artwork to each game like you see here. Now, you can always plug in a Wi-Fi dongle to the Go Advance, go into the settings, enable Wi-Fi, press start on the Go Advance, and scrape from there. But it does take a very long time if you're using a 2.4 gigahertz dongle. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get this all done from the SD card and a Windows PC. Just like my previous tutorial on installing the software and games, we're going to be using Linux file system for Windows. This will allow us to access the SD card's file system for the Go Advance, and we can easily use another application called Skraper to add images for each one of our games. If you're using a Linux machine, you can also follow this tutorial. You won't be using that Linux file system for Windows, but Linux will read this SD card straight out of the box. So if you're ready to get images added to your Go Advance, let's go ahead and remove the SD card and move over to our PC. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. First things first, we're going to need two different applications to get this up and running. If you watched my install tutorial, you know we used Linux file system for Windows. We're going to need this because we need to access the file system on the SD card for the Go Advance. You can download it right here. It's a free 10-day trial, but like I mentioned in my previous video, I've uninstalled it and reinstalled it for another 10 days. So we'll go ahead and download this. Mine's already installed. You're just going to walk through the install process. And the next thing we're going to need is a scraper called Skraper. Now this will work with RecalBox, RetroPie, Launchbox, or if you just want to generically scrape images for different games, you can do it from this. This has a full GUI for Windows, Linux, or Mac. We're going to go up to download. You do not need to register for this, but you can. I'm going to download for Windows. And now that I have both of these downloaded, I'm going to go ahead and place them on my desktop. We have Skraper and the Linux file system for Windows. Like I mentioned, mine's already installed. It's actually up and running right now. I'm going to close it down. So you will need to install this. Very easy to do. It'll walk you right through it. And once that's installed, we can now move over to Skraper. We will need to extract this. I'm going to extract it to its own folder. And I'll move this out of the way. And now we're ready to start scraping the images for our games on our SD card. We're going to open up Linux file system for Windows. And as you can see, it's not found any volumes that it can read yet. That's because I haven't placed my SD card in my PC yet. I'm using a generic micro SD card USB reader, and I have my micro SD card from my Go Advance. I'm going to plug it into my PC now. So as you can see, it's detected the file system. My drive letter is G, but yours might be different. I usually like to unmount it and then mount it one more time. So my G drive, mount, it's known as root. So we can now access that Linux file system on our Windows PC. We can read and write to those directories. So I'm going to minimize this. Now I'm going to go ahead and open up Skraper. I'm just going to start it up right here, scraperui.exe. And like I mentioned, you can get a Screen Scraper account if you'd like to, but you can also choose, I don't have an account and I don't want to register. Yes, I'm sure. Click Next. It needs to download a few resources. This may take a second if this is the first time you're starting up Skraper, so let it finish. So we now have our resources downloaded. Remember, we have Linux file system for Windows up and running, so we can access that SD card and the file system on the SD card from our Windows PC. If we open up a file explorer, we can actually find it here with root. And inside of the root folder on the SD card, we have another folder called ROMs. That's where we placed all of our games from my last tutorial. This is what we're going to be scraping. So I'm going to minimize all this. From within Skraper, we're going to choose RecalBox. This is going to create the correct file system for us and an XML file. Next, include non-RecalBox ROM folders. You want to make sure this is checked. Now we're going to choose this little folder here, and we're going to navigate to that ROMs folder on our SD card. It'll be under PC, Root, and inside of here, we'll see ROMs. Click OK. And as you can see, it found the systems that I have present here. Now I don't have games in every single one of these folders, but it found the correct folders. It's going to scrape everything that I have on that SD card, all of my games. Next, from here, I just leave gamelist.xml for images mix and box 3D. Next, from here, if you're ready to start scraping, press the play button. Click OK, and it's now going to start scraping our systems. Obviously, you need to be online for this to work. It's going to add box art and background images for each of those games that we have on the SD card. If you're scraping thousands of games, this can take a little while. I don't have thousands of games on my SD card right now, so it's not going to take that long. I'm going to speed this up, and when it's finished, we have to unmount our SD card. You cannot just pull the SD card out when we're using a Linux file system for Windows. We have to unmount it for everything to go by correctly. I'll give this a little time to finish up. Once Skraper is finished, we can go ahead and close it down. Now we need to open up the Linux file system for Windows and unmount that SD. The SD card is now unmounted. We can remove it from our PC and place it back into Go Advance. And here it is. If you remember, we didn't have any images when we started off. We now have images for each and every game. I believe this missed one game, but it was because I had it named really weird. It was a Guilty Gear game. But overall, Skraper works really well for the Odroid Go Advance. This will work with RetroPie, Launchbox, RecalBox. I believe you can even get it to work with Batocera. But for this tutorial, you do have to use the RecalBox format inside of Skraper for it to work with the Go Advance. It's actually pretty simple to do, and it's much faster than scraping the games on the Go Advance using a Wi-Fi dongle. This will scrape them a lot faster than it would if you try to do it on the device itself. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I really appreciate you watching. If for some reason you watch this and you don't already have software installed on your Go Advance, I have a full tutorial. I will link it in the description. If you have any questions or you want to see anything else running on the Go Advance, let me know in the comments below. But like always, thanks for watching.